Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver
Good morning,
now.
Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. Good morning, Horn Aziz. Your sip of chaga coffee. Great discussion last night. Jean-Claude Beyond Mystic 3 YouTube channel. My boy Snippy and Woo Woo Dude came on as a guest speaker. Now, they said, we're going to have a guest speaker. We always know it's Woo Woo Dude. You need a new guest speaker. No, you don't need you need to add someone. I love Woo Woo Dude. I take that back. Although, they talked about going back to gold standard. Jean-Claude brought it up. It's not happening the way most people think. Russia saying they'll accept oil for gold is not a gold standard. Russia saying they'll back the ruble. They haven't said that, but the problem is not the standard itself. A gold standard is you can go to a bank and you can redeem your bills for gold. That's what a gold standard should be at any time. One-to-one relationship. It's a physical gold standard. Everything else is bullshit. So it doesn't matter. It might be a stepping stone to something else, but I mean, it really doesn't matter. And the biggest thing why it doesn't matter is we don't know how much gold is worth in US dollars, in won, in euros. And I was looking at a chart, and it's over $2 quadrillion worth of fiat money has been printed since we went off the gold standard in 71. How does that factor into the equation? I mean, people like to equate just the US dollar. How many US dollar have been printed? They're like, gold should be $80,000 now. No, gold should be, I mean, literally, we don't know. We don't know in any fiat money what gold, the true fair market value of gold is. And that's part of the problem of going to a gold standard. Number one, we don't know how many quadrillions of fiat money has been printed and what counts as money. Number two, we don't know how much gold there is. We have no freaking idea. So how do you value something that you don't know how much it is, how much quantity it is? That's what the Road to Ruta documents are all about, supply and demand. If you have limited supply of something, you better know how much you have, or you can't value it in any denomination. And that's how the bankers get away with rigging the price. Nobody knows how much gold there is. Nobody knows how much fiat money there is. And those are the two things that are being decided upon as the going ratio. Right now, gold is $2,000 to 1 ounce. But is that the correct ratio? Silver's $22.50 for 1 ounce. Is that the correct ratio in the amount of fiat out there versus the amount of gold and silver available? Anyway, so yeah, it always gets to me when people say, oh yeah, Russia has a gold standard now. It's like, no, that's the only true gold standard. A fake gold standard is not going to work anymore. A lot of this fake stuff like the NESRA and JESRA and the NAR revaluation and the quantum financial system, as you can see, they've all disappeared. It's all gone. And people were so adamant. I was getting calls from all these people. Oh, the quantum financial system's coming in and XRP is going to back it and blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. That would take deciders. There's going to be no deciders. And what takes no deciders in the United States of America? Going back to a gold-silver standard? Yeah, I'm throwing silver in the mix because that's part of our Constitution. Silver was the US dollar. And so, yes, they might be worth 1-to-1, which I think they will be, gold and silver, because we have so much freaking gold. So much gold. So I've been diving into, I know we're coming up to a time when gold and silver will be used as money again. So I'm trying to figure out how much gold there is. And it's not 200,000 tons. Jeff Christian has his silver report coming out any day. Oh my God, that guy is just pathetic. He is the most pathetic human in financial history. But he's a tool of the banksters. Always has been. He's a tool and a tool of the banksters. So yeah, I don't know anybody who buys that report. He says, oh, all my naysayers should buy my report so they have some ammunition. You're an idiot. He's a freaking idiot. I know why he was put in his position back when Goldman Sachs split off Jay Aaron. They needed a third party. Here, Jeffrey Christian, our third party, those numbers are correct. What he says, it's ridiculous. The whole thing's a joke. But so I've been looking into, once again, this article that I found published on June 19th, 1912, got me diving into, I found the Road to Ruta documents earlier. I found that in 2007 on January 1st. And it shows Ruta going into the caves to find the colored flowers and all this in Cobblestone Canyon. I'm like, what is that place? What is that place? Obviously now, in retrospect, it's the Grand Canyon. That's where Ruta found all the gold. I'm not making this shit up. This is from the Federal Reserve. And then I found this document, June 19th, 2012, tell of vast riches in the Grand Canyon. Men engaged in gold dredging operations expect to astonish the world. They found billions of ounces of gold in the Grand Canyon. Billions and billions and billions and even more billions up the Colorado River. And that has been a contention for a very long time. This is the reason the Federal Reserve was created. And G. Edward Griffith got it right all the way except the very beginning. Why were the bankers so panicked? They were so panicked because they knew that back in 1912, there was very little gold in circulation about above ground, and even less held by the banksters. It was about somewhere around 350 to 400 million ounces in the world that had been mined. And that's right in here, right in this area right here. Now we've got more that's been mined, of course, total production right here. But in reality, my God, what would happen to the banking system, the political system, the economic system, if you start out with, in the United States, there's about 100 million in circulation, ounces of gold, and you add billions and billions of ounces. You have a destruction of everything. All the rich people are no longer rich because you're flooding the system. It's kind of like flooding the system with fiat money. So a plan was devised to create the Federal Reserve System, which was the reason they met at Jekyll Island and the reason Woodrow Wilson approved it. And then right after Woodrow Wilson approved it, he stopped all gold mining in the Grand Canyon and then locked it up into a national park. And you can't go in there. You can't take a pebble out of the Grand Canyon. So I've been doing research on this stuff. This is, a lot of people say, oh, it's yellow journalism, Bix. This article right here is yellow journalism. It wasn't real. Even though they state, we found billions and billions, the world's going to be astonished. And then Woodrow Wilson shuts it down. Well, that's the question. Is this real article or is it not? And that's what I've been diving into for the past 5-6 years. Yes, absolutely real. I've seen the steamship, what's left of the steamship. In the banks of the Colorado River. It's just the boiler's the only thing that's left. And those of you who followed my work see me out there doing videos and pictures in the middle of the Grand Canyon, the middle of nowhere on a boiling hot day, pointing to the boiler that's still stuck in the sand. And oh, by the way, there's a post stuck right there saying this is an underwater national, what's it called? Underwater national resource. Anyway, it's got some designation. You're not allowed to touch it. You're not allowed to go near it. They did a 200-page paper on it. That little hunk of metal in there. You don't think that's important? This is the U.S. government. The USGS, the Geological Society, has deemed it one of the most important underwater sites on the planet. A little steamship that's completely rusted. All the wood is gone. Everything's gone. And then people still saying, oh, Bix, yeah, it was there, but, they didn't do anything. He didn't shut it down. They're just lying. That's when I went to U.S. versus Utah. 1931 case, the United States was suing Utah saying, hey, you can't mine any gold out of the banks of the Colorado River because that's federal land because it's not navigable. That's a good word, navigable. And I'm like, oh, really interesting. So I was diving through that, and there's testimony from the guy who was in charge of the Grand Canyon find back in 1910, 1911, who testified under oath that they were finding massive amounts of gold and that Woodrow Wilson shut them down. That's why they had to stop the steamship. That's why it sat there for the last 100 years. That's why the USGS came out about 20 years ago and said, this is a national monument, this underwater rusted hunk of junk. Anybody want to go up against me? Jim Willie, if you're ready to have that discussion about whether there's gold in the Grand Canyon any day of the week, let's go. All right, silver price. It's being held under $25. Again, we don't even know how much silver there is out there, truthfully. We know there's very little. I know there's very little because they had to tear down the most important military facility mankind has ever manufactured. It's for the Manhattan Project, the Y-12 facility, Oak Ridge, Tennessee. In the 90s, they were running out of silver, and they borrowed massive amounts of silver. And I mean, when I say massive amounts, I'm talking at least 3 billion ounces, at least 3 billion ounces of silver, because they needed to make these magnets called calutrons to make the first atomic bomb. If you if you don't know all this stuff, go to road-to-road.com and look up Manhattan Project. It was, there was a book, the guy who was in charge of the book's called Now It Can Be Told, General Graves. He talks all about it. He says the number one thing we had to do was hide from the American people that we were taking out 3 billion ounces of silver out of the treasury and melting it down and using it as a magnet. But because in the 1990s they were really short on silver, about to run out of silver, they had to tear down that facility, and the silver came back into the market, got shipped mainly to England, to the LBMA, but a lot of it stayed in the U.S., and voila. Over that time, if you've been wondering, where's all the silver coming from? That's where it came from. So there you go. Not to mention the fake silver, the silver derivatives, which it's interesting because people tell me, okay, Bix, if these silver shorts, the 8 top silver shorts, the riggers are short 350 million ounces any given day, they hold that number. Why don't they just go long? Why don't they just flip it over? I mean, look at the volume on the LBMA. It's 300 to 500 million ounces every single day. Well, here's the problem. This volume, the 300 to 500 million ounces every day, is just those same 8 bankers trading back and forth with each other using a company called Virtu Financial. Vinny Viola, who is an authorized participant of SLV, by the way. So Virtu Financial runs the gambit. They all collude. These are fake trades, just JP Morgan selling to HSBC, selling to Bank of America. It's like a traveling parade of fraud. Now, the new CFTC commissioners have no idea what they're doing, none. That's why they were put there. 2 of them, one worked for JP Morgan, one worked for Citibank. It is a fraud. It is a scam on humanity. But everybody knows it who's got half a brain, so there you go. What I'm looking for is the next few days we will have do you hear my dog going crazy? Hey, buddy, chill out. Buddy, we will have a posting of the new SLV holdings of Private Advisor Group. Remember, it was Private Advisor Group last year that caused the whole Wall Street bets thing in silver. When they bought 191 million shares, means they owned 1/3 of all SLV. You don't hear it anywhere except on Road to Road, by the way. And then over the next 2 quarters, they sold it. But look what they did in the fourth quarter. They bought 60 million ounces of shares of SLV. 60 million. Look at the increase in the amount of shares they bought that quarter. 1,015% increase. It's their largest holding now, I believe, at 1.3 billion. I think. Let's check and see if it's their largest holding. Yep, it is their largest holding. Their next largest holding is Apple stock and then S&P futures. But look at the drop. They're basically selling everything except they're selling everything. This is the fourth quarter. They were selling everything and buying SLV. What do they know? Are they working with the good guys? I hope so. But we'll know more in the first quarter. How much did they buy? I think in the first quarter last year, they bought too much. And that's when Rustam Benham came in and said, we're going to tamp down the silver price. I think that is him tamping it down. Maybe they did the deal with Bank of America. Maybe they're the third party. I don't know, but I'll be really this is the now. I talked to Ted Butler about this, and Ted's like, I don't believe that data. Why not? I mean, you believe all the other data. Why wouldn't you believe this data? Is this a fraudulent? Are they allowed to? This is reporting to the SEC. Let's ask Gary Gensler. Hey, Gary Gensler, are people allowed to fraudulently report the amount of shares that they own? Now, it is a fact that private advisor groups, this is a company called Private Advisor Group, but private advisors are not required by law to make the same reporting requirements as a bank or a financial institution. So I don't know. But clearly, according to the data, something's going on. And we know something went on in the first quarter when silver ran up to $30 and everybody was freaking out. And Rustin Benham had to pull out all the stops to rig the market. Rustin Benham being the head of the CFTC. Anyway, keep an eye on that. I'll keep an eye on it too. The quarterly report for banking derivatives doesn't come out. They delay forever. So the last is the fourth quarter. That's when Bank of America jumped to ungodly amounts of their silver derivative position. It should go down. These are only 1 year derivatives. So it should be going down in the first quarter. I don't know. And that won't come out until the end of June. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Just so you know, I used to keep track of repos, and then I was looking at reverse repos, like, holy shit, this is getting completely out of hand. And I stopped keeping track back in March and May of 2021 when it was hundreds of billions. It is now, this is nightly bailouts of the banks. $1.8 trillion is needed to bail out the bank every single night. Every night they have to do these reverse repos. $1.8 trillion. If you're wondering how these banks are surviving with all this turmoil, this is it. Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve had decided to just completely open the floodgates. Who needs $1.8 trillion tonight? That's exactly what's going on there. Great article from Wall Street on Parade. Goldman Sachs says its dark pools are under investigation. You're not allowed to talk about dark pools. This is the stuff they do off the books. This is why Jamie Dimon has $5 trillion leaving the what he calls his money center in Florida every night in Florida. This is the stuff you're not allowed to talk about. This is the con. So dark is the con, these banking criminals. So that's what's going on in the world, except last night was the airing of Stealing the Election 2020. It's called, what's it called? 2,000 Mules. I'm not allowed to say it, so I'll just skip by it. You have to watch this and send it to all your liberal Democrat friends. The dam is breaking as far as what really went on. And what I think is really awesome is this. I can't even say this because YouTube will ding me, but suspicious blanks and material blanks. Look at that date. All these people, bang, 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 worked for the bad guys. And they're being investigated. Woo! Here we go. Anyway, that's what I got for you. This is Bix Weir, road2road.com. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. And probably won't post tomorrow, but have a good one. Kiss your mama for me. I'll talk to you later.
So we were out on the mountain range yesterday prospecting for little gemstones and crystals and whatever else you want to talk about.
Love the crystals, baby.
And Big says, you know, I kind of had this vision, weird thing of almost like an Indian lady spirit, like kind of helping us, guiding us, and was inspired to write a freaking song literally on the mountainside. He's like, I'm going to go over here for a little bit, guys. He's over there writing a song. So I come out here this morning, and I'm hearing him playing. I'm like, holy shit, I got to go grab my camera and film this. Go for it.
Hi, Snippy fans. It's called Secret Treasures, or Secret Treasures Lost in Time. And it's got an Indian chant beforehand. I'm not Indian, so I'll butcher it.
Picture the Indian, like an Indian voice doing it. Oh, it'd be phenomenal.
fog rolls in. Spirit alive within the wind. An ancient woman, an Indian. Is this the body I once lived in? I hear her voice, she calls to me. Describes an ancient mystery. A place where ghosts protect treasures lost in time. Seek your soul, so shall ye find. Secret treasures lost in time. Mysteries of where we came. History has all been changed. To find the opening, you must give up the past. Belief and faith are all that last. She says to me, I now must go. Your journey awaits above, below. Find the clues in time and always trust your mind. Secret treasures lost in time. Secret treasures lost in time.
Holy crap.
Wow.
There you go.
I think I just filmed the music video.
You got all that on the mountain yesterday?